What if Harry Potter had the abilities of Chrollo Lucifer from Hunter x Hunter? Yeah, that's right. I'm doing a Harry Potter what if. Now, I'm gonna take place. Well, let's see. When Harry Potter was 8 years old. Yeah, that seems good. When Harry was 8, while he was still living with the Dursleys, because he never left the Dursleys, he actually sometimes went to a library. Because that was the one place where the Dursleys could get rid of him, where they wouldn't get in trouble for leaving him there for long. But while Harry was there one day, he found a weird book. What did that book look like? Well, it looked like this. The book looked like this. Harry wondered what it is because he seemed to not recognize what it said on the box, what it said on the book, so he opened it. Once he opened, he was bombarded with strange visions of techniques. Once they all ended, it seemed like he can do more. He tried to focus on that weird feeling he saw in those visions of his. It actually worked. He could actually see the aura around himself and others. Now, when he got back to the Dursleys after he left the library, and he kept the book with him, the librarian didn't seem to care much, not even noticing that he had the book in the first place. The Dursleys didn't care what he had as long as he doesn't bother them. He started to flip through the pages, and then he saw something weird. Techniques. This is certainly interesting, Harry says. He then starts to create two things just to test it out. He created the indoor fish and the blanket you see right there. Once he covered another book with it, the cloth seemed to shrink so that way it could fit in the small part of his palm. Wow. Now, over the next few years, Harry would use more abilities as well as a few abilities I think he would have had in a few abilities that I think Chrollo would have gotten. Because the technique wasn't really explained that much, so yeah. Now, this is gonna be the year where Hogwarts tried to get Harry to contact Harry. On the day where the letter came in, it went, Harry didn't want to go to that old lady's house with those cats. They don't really like him, and he doesn't like them. He says, why can't I just never leave? I don't want to deal with those stupid cats, he says. Well, too bad, his Uncle Vernon said. You're going, but then they suddenly got two letters and said, hey, go get them. Yeah. All the years, Harry didn't like everything around him, so he tries to stay to himself more than in the canon. Anytime they tried to steal that book from Harry, because they realized that he liked it, that he liked the book, So, anytime they get the chance, they try to take the book away. But that never worked. Every time they did, Harry would just seem to appear shortly after, even if he was in the bathroom and they tried to grab that book. It was like he was right next to it the second later. That was because one of the abilities I think he would have had, that chrollo Lucifer would have had. And that would have been the teleportation ability. Now, while it said that he needs 2 points, I altered it a bit. So that way, he can create one spot to what certain conditions have to be met, and then he'll instantly go there. The condition he put on his book is that if he doesn't give them permission to touch the book, he will appear right next to it, no matter what happens, preventing the Dursleys from ever getting their hands on it. Oh. When Harry saw that there was a letter for him, he tried to sneakily open it, but then his cousin Douglas decided, "Huh? Harry has a letter." As he snatched it, he said, "Hey, give that back," he said with a bit of venom in his voice. "Huh? Don't be silly. Who would ever send a letter to you?" Huh? As he ripped it open and looked inside, he saw that it was from Hogwarts. I'm not going through that letter. If you want to find out what it said, read the book. Then he said, it was nothing. He whipped it apart and tossed it in the fire. Wait, no! Harry gritted his teeth angrily as a bit of aura started to surround him, but they couldn't see nor sense it. So Harry just stayed upset, because that was clearly a letter for him. But he just had to stay calm because he didn't know what was in it, so he wasn't sure if it was a big deal or not. Whatever. As the next day, he suddenly moved from his small cupboard to Dudley's old toy room. Basically the room where Dudley put all his toys he never plays with. Now, another time, another letter came, but this time, his Uncle Vernon snatched it before Harry could even get to it. He said, "Nothing important again," as he read it. As he whipped it up and tossed it into a fire again. This time, more letters came. As Vernon started to make them move a bit. Eventually, they decided to stay at a motel, and then a flood of letters came down the chimney. After that, he said, "Enough," and decided to force all of them into a van and move into a hidden area in the ocean. "No way those stupid letters will get to us now," he said. Harry was, even though he was never going to admit it, very annoyed. Why were they doing this? Why wouldn't they tell him what was on those letters? What was so important that they couldn't tell him? Well, he was gonna find out, because Harry couldn't sleep that night. So, eventually, it started to rain heavily, and banging started to appear. Eventually, his Uncle Vernon and Dudley came down, as well as his Aunt Petunia, to find a big old man in a coat with an umbrella. Well. Didn't expect I would see everyone here, he said. As Harry looked at him a bit shocked. He has never seen anyone this big. While he was thinking about what happened, he noticed that there was a box in his hands. He said, there you are, Harry. Happy birthday. During all this commotion, Harry forgot that it was his birthday. But then he said, it seems like Hogwarts been trying to get to you, but for some reason, you haven't been responding to their letters. Hogwarts, he said with a weird tone, not recognizing the name. Yes. Hogwarts. School for many magical beings. But then his Uncle Vernon said, we are not sending him there. We told ourselves that when we took care of him, we wouldn't be sending him there. Wait. What are you talking about? What they mean, Harry, is that you're a wizard. What? Harry said with a bit of shock. He didn't understand that, he knows these abilities are not related to magic. That much is easy for him to know. But what he didn't understand when he started to look at the Dursleys was one thing. Why didn't you tell me? He said. Why would you tell you? That way you can go and be a freak there? We told ourselves that we would get rid of that after my sister died, as his Aunt Petunia said with a upset. Wait, you knew? Of course I did. She was my sister. As well as your mother, Harry, as Hagrid said. Wait, what? He said in a very upset voice of tone. Your father and mother had to be one of the best wizards ever to come into Hogwarts School. Until they were killed. Killed? He looked at his aunt and uncle. You said they died in a car accident. Car accident? Car accident, he shouted. That's some malarkey, he says. No way James and I can't remember his mother's name, Potter, would ever die like that. No, they were killed by someone much worse. Anyway, it seems like Dumbledore himself wants you to come into the school. We are not sending him to that school, even if that insane weirdo tells us. Instantly, Harry was ready to open his book and summon something. But then, Hagrid instantly pointed his umbrella at them and said, "Don't you dare insult Professor Dumbledore in front of me again." As he sees that Dudley is eating Harry's cake. As then he then turned Dursley and have a pigtail. As Harry laughed a little. I thought I would turn him into a full pig, but I guess he was already part of it. Hagrid said, as Harry started to laugh a bit more that he could actually be heard. Huh? What are you laughing at, brat? His Uncle Vernon said. Oh, nothing, that Dudley finally got what he deserved. What? How dare you say that about our boy? He has done nothing wrong. Then Harry just got, nothing wrong? He's been upset that even though he gets spoiled, he gets all the food while I only get stupid hand-me-downs. You guys barely even feed me. We shouldn't need to feed you. You should be grateful. Yeah, that you were ever grateful to anyone but yourself. Alright, so, Harry, are you gonna go, or he's not going to that wretched place? As Hagrid looked and said, "It's not your decision, is it?" He tried to grab Harry's shoulder, but instantly something happened to his shoulder. Something happened to Vernon's arm. Something seemingly appeared and bit it off. He didn't feel any pain, he wasn't bleeding, but it just disappeared, as well as two creatures now flying around Harry. I always knew that you were something, but lying to me about my own family's death, he says, as he stood up, as he holds his book in front of him, showing that he summoned the indoor fish. Yes, that is their literal name. I'm going to that school. You go there, and before he could finish, the two fish instantly bludged towards him, almost tearing off his shoulders. Or what? He says. You fools don't do anything for me. As Hagrid was shocked by this. He can tell that's not normal, but he can also tell that's not magic either. Well, are we going? Harry said as he closed the book. As Vernon suddenly felt pain in his hand as the indoor fish disappeared, and his hand started to bleed. As he shouted out in pain, "Ah, you what?" Not much fun being on the receiving end of pain, is it? Now then, shall we get going? Harry said. Yes. As they started to leave, Harry only slightly looked back, not very much caring about what happened. As when they ended up going to Gringotts, a place filled with elves, or goblins, I think. I believe they were goblins. When they finally did that, he saw that they went to his own money bank to see that Hugh had a plenty amount of money. Wow. Yep. Stacked up for many generations. This is something, Harry says. Yep. Many generations of Potters have sure been busy with money collecting. But I'm pretty sure that's not all we were here for. I'm pretty sure we could have done this at any time, so... Oh yes, thanks for reminding me. As Hagrid started to make them move again. But this time, they ended up in another room. Harry didn't understand why they were going through all this trouble for something so small, he says. It has more importance than you think. You must never tell anyone about this. Fine. As they left, they started to go to another area for Harry's clothes. As Hagrid left, he saw another person talking. I'll definitely be in Slytherin, he hears. He started to walk towards the voice, and said, Yes, I will most definitely be Slytherin. My father was one as well. He sounded like an arrogant person as well as a person that would definitely get on Harry's nerves. Now let me explain a few things about the new Harry. While he will remain mostly like his original self from the movies and book, he will be slightly quicker to anger in certain situations. If you were to insult or hide stuff about his family, he will definitely be angry. If you hurt his friends or threaten them, he will be angry quicker. But do anything that can threaten his friends and it's gonna be very bad. Well, let's get back to the what if. As he walked over and said, "Hello, what's your name?" My name is Draco Malfoy, he says, with a sneer in his voice with a sound of "I'm superior to you" attitude. Great. He's one of those people, Harry said under his breath. Oh, and who are you? Well, who I am isn't important right now, as Harry just doesn't care right now. Oh, whatever. You look around my age. Are you heading to Hogwarts? Yes. Oh, whatever. You're never gonna be better than me. I am going to be in Slytherin, one of the best houses. Oh? Whatever. As Harry begins to leave, that stupid boy, as Draco would think. As Harry walked, he ended up bumping into Hagrid again. Oh, yes, now we gotta find your wand because I finished with the clothes. As they went to the wand shop, the person tried to fit Harry with a wand until he finally figured one out. He handed him a box and said, "Open it." He then told him the ingredients. I cannot remember, and I am not reading it. It only has one other of its kind, and it was used by the one who shall not be named. Harry had a hidden grin. Combine the wand with his own abilities. This is gonna be good. Well, we better get going now, Harry. As I'm pretty sure that's where it ended for inside of that area. Oh wait, no, he still needs to get a familiar. Or a pet, or whatever. They then go to a store to get a pet. Harry seemed to only want one particular animal, an owl. The owl there was Snow White. Oh yes. This one seems a bit hostile towards most wizards and witches. Anytime someone tries to open it, he instantly tries to attack them, making it so that no one ever wants him. If no one doesn't get him soon, then I'm gonna need to get rid of it. An owl that's aggressive. That's a new one, Hagrid said. Harry put his hand on the cage and opened it. And both the owner of the shop and Hagrid were worried, but then it seemed like the owl just calmed down and perched right on his shoulder. I'll name you Mortimer. No, wait, let me look something up real quick. No, I think Hedwig would fit you better. As the owl made a sound saying that, making it sound like he liked it. Hedwig it is. As since that was all they needed, no wait, then they bought the books and everything else. It was finally the day for him to get to Hogwarts, as he went to the train area and didn't see an area for it. But when it was finally time for it, he saw a few people with red hair. Well, it was more like an orangish hair, so yeah. He watched as they ran through a wall. That must be it, he says under his breath, as he goes towards it and walks past them. He then walks through and enters. So this is the place. As he then enters the train and sits in the back by himself, and then someone comes back and say, "Hey, is there any room for me back here?" He says nervously. "Sure," Harry says, looking out the window. Now, one thing I should also mention is that he still has those broken glasses. Yeah, I wasn't sure if people thought he didn't have his glasses or not. Those things are almost as iconic as his Thunderbolt scar. Which is honestly kind of stupid in my opinion, but meh. As they talked for a bit, he found out that the person next to him was called Ronald Weasley. He doesn't seem to come from a good financial family, as his wand is a hand-me-down. When the cart of food came in, Ronald didn't get much, and Harry said he would get one of everything. After he paid for it, after eating a bit, he found a card of someone named Professor Dumbledore. Yeah, that's the headmaster of the school. Oh, really? Yes. That's really interesting, he says. When he looked back at the card, he said, "Wait, where did he go?" Well, you can't expect him to stay in the same place for long. As then a girl came past and saying, "Hey, did you see a toad around here?" No, I don't think we did, as she left. No, wait. After she saw Harry's glasses, she said, "Oh, I can fix that." Then she casted a spell to fix Harry's glasses as he took them off and looked. Nice. Thanks. It's an easy spell, and then she started blabbing about how good she was. When they finally got to Hogwarts, he saw that Hagrid was there. Once he was finally there, let's see. Yeah, I'm definitely skipped over a few things from the book, but that would take me so long to do, so I'm telling a combination of the book and movie. As he continued to, as they end up near a lake where they need to stop rowing a boat to get there. When it was finally time for them to get on, they saw someone with glasses. As then he then explained all the houses: Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and what was it? Ravenclaw. When they finally went to the Sword and Hat room, they saw the Sword and Hat fly in the sky singing about unity. Unity. And since they were going in the alphabetical order or whatever, I can't actually remember. One of the people was Malfoy. Harry's eye twitched a bit after hearing that name. The Sorting Hat says, Slytherin! Figured someone like him would get in there, Harry said. As now we need to get to Harry's part of it. He thinks not Slytherin, anything but Slytherin. Then he hears a voice in his head. Oh, but Slytherin could help you big time, especially with those goals of yours, boy. I don't care, not Slytherin. If it's not Slytherin, then it's gotta be Gryffindor. As everyone was happy to hear the Harry Potter was in Gryffindor. As it was impressive about that. Now, after all that, let's go to another part. In Professor Snape's room, talking about potions, he then saw Harry not paying attention. Harry Potter, what is this, and this? He says. Harry says, I don't know. Well, I guess fame doesn't come with intelligence. Well, I guess being a teacher doesn't come with having a better attitude, Harry says. Watch your mouth, boy. Oh? And why should? If you didn't realize, I've barely been in this school for a week. And you think I know this? Maybe if you want to ask someone that, ask someone who should have known it. Because you certainly as heck don't teach us about those things. Oh, then what do I teach? Potions, how to craft them. You don't teach us anything about plants. As we now go to another class, as Ronald Weasley and Harry Potter ran into the class saying, I can't believe you made me be late. Well, it's not my fault. This class was hard to find. Why did I follow you? As Professor McGonagall stated that if you didn't want to be late, maybe you should have transfigured yourself into a clock. Or something along those lines. I can't remember her exact words. As her class went pretty well. And now we're moving to another class. Now, everyone weighs in flick. Levy, Langavia Leviosa, he says. Everyone started to go, Langavia Leviosa, Langavia. No, it's not Langavia Leviosa, it's Leviosa. Oh, really? Then you try it. One said, go ahead, Lee. As she said, Langavia Leviosa. On the first try, it started to hover. As one of them got blown in the face with smoke from a failed attempt. Well, it seems at least one of you was able to do it. For now. Now then, let's go to another. As now we're in Harry Potter's flying class. Okay, everybody, put your hand over the broom and say up. that should make the broom rise up and go to your hand. Everyone rose their hand and started saying up, up. When Harry started doing it, he saw the thing jump a bit and then said it with more command. Up. It instantly came up to his hand. As one student tried to get it to go up, but accidentally ended up going flying. He accidentally ended up hurting his arm and dropping a forget-me orb. Or a forget orb. Then Ron Weasley decided, hey, if he wanted, then he shouldn't have left it here. As he then put it on top of the tree. Hey, put that down. We're not supposed to be flying. People like you never learn, he said, as Harry said that. He commanded his broom up and started flying. Harry, don't. We're not supposed to, as Hermione said that. Yeah. He then went to grab it, but he saw that what was it? Oh yeah. Malfoy tried to grab it, but ended up being too slow as Harry instantly grabbed the ball and started to go away from him. Out inside the school, someone saw Harry wasn't going away from Malfoy. When Malfoy was about to grab his broom, Harry opened his book and pulled out this. He then wrapped it around Malfoy and then grabbed the ends of it, making it so it shrank down. Which shocked both the students and the teacher that was watching. Next time, if you want to try that with me, don't. As he let go of it, and when he landed and let go of it, Malfoy ended up falling on the ground face first. As Harry was called to one of the teachers' rooms, it ended up being for Quidditch. Oh? This could be interesting. As it was the first wizard thing Harry's participated in. He said that he thinks he shouldn't be a part of this because he's too young. But of course you can. I've seen how you've flown around in that. Harry ended up scratching the back of his head, having a kind of confused smile. If you say so, he says. Now, let's see. I can't really think of many important moments that happened after that. So let's just skip to Quidditch. Now, when Quidditch finally started, it was time for them to try and earn points. Harry seemed to do an okay job, as he wasn't terrible, but wasn't great at gaining points either. But then he saw something being past him. It was a golden snitch. The same person that's been getting rid of his teammates saw it as well, as tried to get towards the snitch as well. He then bashed Harry away, trying to go for the snitch. But Harry stayed on target and continued to follow Snitch. As the student from Slytherin tried to get him off, Harry ended up sticking out his hand and pulling up. Heh, said the southern character, as he realized that he was heading down too fast and ended up falling. Everyone can tell that he was fine since he got up later, but since he ended up falling off his broom, that means he was out. But everyone then noticed that the snitch started to follow someone instead of moving wildly. It started to go right towards Harry's palm. That's because Harry used bungee gum. That's right. He used bungee gum on the snitch when it was getting away from him, making it so the snitch would go right back to the palm of his hand, earning the team a win. And now that I think about it, I did go over one part, the troll in the dungeon bit. Let's go back to that, shall we? When that happened, Professor Quill said, "Troll in the dungeon," as what Ronald said to Hermione. So she ended up crying and going to the bathroom, which when Harry and Ron saw that, he knew that it was the girls' restroom where Hermione was. Harry instantly opened his book and started to run towards it, having a very few ideas of how he could stop something like that. But then again, I did say I altered a few things about a few abilities. Now, let's go with one. Once they entered, Harry got the attention of the troll by using Wingardium Leviosa on its stick, causing it to start to follow Harry. He ran outside the girls' bathroom and entered the hallway where Professor Snape and Professor McGonagall were. They tried to interfere but instantly appeared in the opposite area. They were on one end of Harry, now they're on the other. That's because Harry is using the modified version of the teleporting ability. Now, normally he can only set abilities for one spot, but by giving a certain command and having a certain room area, the opponent is completely stuck into his range. Not able to leave, no one able to interfere. Just him and the opponent, which in this case would be the troll. The troll ended up swinging its club at Harry, which just put up his hands in the defense position, staying perfectly still, using bungee gum to lock his feet in place. As the others tried to get in, they noticed something. Hermione asked McGonagall and Snape, "Hey, does it feel hotter in here to anyone else?" Yes. Then they noticed an aura surrounded Harry. As he quickly used a needle he threw a few seconds ago, when the troll lifted up his arm and threw it, lodging in the neck, making the thing stop. Now, after a bit of the beating that the troll tried to give Harry, which Harry just didn't move, he kept his arms in an X position protecting himself, he ended up using something else. They noticed an aura surrounding Harry, and then an armor appeared. They could hear him speaking in a weird language. "Pangpacker," he says in the weird language. Then they see a red orb start to flow up. Not throw up, flow up. Then they hear him say, "Wizen sun!" As instantly the small orb grew massively to the size of the sun, to the size of a miniature sun, and burned the beast alive, making sure that there's nothing left of it. Both Hermione and Ron were shocked, as well as Snape and McGonagall. Now, the reason why they weren't affected is because of the transportation. While heat will get out, not enough to hurt anyone surrounding him. Because each ability came up with a page in the book, giving a description and the downsides of using it. For the ones that do have major downsides. So he combined the teleportation as well as altering a bit so that this major danger heat stays inside, making sure that no one would get hurt. As they could see the circle that was surrounding them instantly disappear as the armor vanished, with all of Harry's runes seemingly going away as well. And I thought trolls are supposed to be dangerous. As he then passed out. While he didn't receive many dangerous injuries, he still used up plenty of energy. Let's see. I know how the story goes, but I can't think of how it would. Whatever. I'm just gonna skip a few things. Just imagine how it would go, because I honestly can't think of anything else. Sorry, everyone. I just can't think of anything. As then they finally went to the area with the Cerberus. As when they were trying to make sure the music didn't stop, Harry instantly opened up his book and used the bookmark and pulled out the blanket and then surrounded Fluffy with it, shrinking it down. "Ah, good job, Harry," Hermione said. "Yeah, easier to do that than have to play music." Now let's make sure nothing else gets there. Yeah. As once they got down, he released the blanket and released Fluffy, while making sure he kept his bookmark ability activated. See, they looked down and saw that it was those hollow roots. It started to surround them, and as Harry and Ron tried to strangle themselves out, it only seemed to make things worse. Guys, relax. As Hermione said that, Ron said, "Relax, these things are trying to crush us." "No, these things if you relax, then it'll be easier to watch." As they see Hermione start to go down, as Harry followed suit, as one said, "Harry!" As he started to struggle more, he didn't calm down even in the slightest. And now he was starting to suffocate. What was the... Oh, yes. As she then cast a fireball, as Hermione summoned a fireball and pointed it at the weird vines, hollow vines as I call them, released them and said, "Well, at least we didn't show. At least Hermione paid attention to herbology." As a next thing that came up was a room full of weird keys. Harry then saw the key that was needed. As he then saw the broom and said, I think I know what I must do. As he went on the broom and started to go towards the key that was needed. But instantly, all the other keys started to fly around crazily, including the key he was trying to get. Once he got close to it, he activated bungee gum and used it to catch the key. Instantly, all the keys started to go towards Harry as he then tossed the key to Hermione, which was trying to get the key in the door. As then, they finally got out. This was so hard, he said, as they heard the keys actually pierce the door a bit. Whatever down here must be super protective. No, wait, yeah. The Sorcerer's Stone is super protective, they said. Yeah. As... let's see, what else? Okay. Then they finally saw a chessboard, which I'm gonna say that one like canon. And once they got past that, they saw potions. 5. 2 will allow them to leave, 2 will kill them, and 1 will allow them passage. Hermione did her trick and figured out which ones were which, allowing Harry to easily get through. Thanks. Now go help Ron. Are you sure? Yes. As he went in and finally saw Professor Quill. He then went on this rant about how no one would suspect him, and how and how he used Snape as a type of scapegoat, so no one would suspect him even if they were trying to. As he was to try and figure out how to get the Philosopher's Stone. Yeah, I know it's called the Sorcerer's Stone, but wake up, people, it's a Philosopher's Stone. As he heard a voice saying, use the boy. Master, you should use the boy. As he then grabbed Harry when he couldn't move and brought him to the mirror. He saw the mirror and put it in his pocket, which then he could feel a weight in the pocket. He then showed, this time, Harry actually showed the Philosopher's Stone to Quill, as when he went to grab it, 2 things flew out behind Harry and instantly bit off his arms. Ah! You child! How dare you! As I said, he used his bookmark ability, so yeah. That way he wouldn't need to have his book opened to use his ability. Surprise, he said. Wait, I'm not bleeding. What are those things? They're called indoor fish. As long as they're inside of a closed space like this, as he pointed his hands open, as he opened up his arms, this is a perfect area for them to thrive. Since they thrive here, You are doomed here. As the fish instantly started to devour most of him, just leaving very little of him in his head. No! As a voice could be heard. Oh, who's that? As he instantly tore off his bandana thing around his head and saw, oh, you must be Voldemort. Yes, and before he finished anything, Harry put his hand on his face, and instantly it started to crack. As then he released the Indo fish, killing Professor Krill and sending Voldemort's spirit somewhere else. As once again, he used so much magic during this, he ended up passing out. As when he woke up, he saw Professor Dumbledore at the front of his bed while he was surrounded by other things. Then he went on to tell him how the whole school doesn't know about this and how he won the House Cup. Now that's where I'm going to leave this part off. What if Harry Potter had chrollo Lucifer's abilities? Out!